I got tested. You will not believe what my boyfriend did. It started subtly. Little things that individually would not raise an eyebrow. But piled together, they built a damn fortress of doubt in my mind. Mark, my boyfriend of 3 years, was different. We used to spend our evenings tangled on the couch, binge watching whatever Netflix suggested. Now, he was busy. Work was demanding, apparently. Longer hours, more deadlines. He would come home late, eyes glued to his phone, barely acknowledging me with a grunt and a peck on the cheek before collapsing into bed. I am not stupid. I work in marketing. I notice shifts in behavior. And the shift in Mark was palpable. Jess, I am losing my mind, I said, swirling the wine in my glass. Jessica, my best friend since kindergarten, was the only person I could truly vent to. We were at her apartment, crammed onto her ridiculously comfy sectional. He is just distant. It is like he is a ghost in our apartment. Jessica took a long sip of her own wine, her brow furrowed. Have you talked to him about it? Of course. 1,000,000 times. He just says I am imagining things, that work is stressful, that he is tired. The classic excuses. I mimicked his voice, rolling my eyes. Jessica sighed. You know I have never been his biggest fan. Yeah, I know. You think he's a narcissistic man-child. I think he is charming and good-looking, and he knows it. That can be a dangerous combination. My chest tightened. I hated when she was right. Which was, unfortunately, most of the time. Then David happened. David was a new guy at work, in the creative department. He was genuinely funny, intelligent, and attractive. And he paid attention to me. He remembered my coffee order, asked about my weekend, even complimented my new haircut, which Mark had not even noticed. Maybe I should test him, I blurted out, the idea popping into my head like a stray firework. Jessica choked on her wine. Test him? Sarah, that is a terrible idea. What are you, 14? I know. But what if I just flirted a little with David? Just to see how Mark reacts. If he even notices. If he cares. Jessica looked at me like I had grown a second head. Sarah, honey, you are better than this. Just talk to him. Open communication, remember? But the seed was planted, and I could not shake the feeling that something was fundamentally wrong. So I started flirting. Subtle stuff. A lingering touch on David's arm, a playful jab at his jokes, maybe an extra long look into his eyes. I told myself it was just an experiment, a harmless way to gauge Mark's interest. The result? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Mark did not seem to notice. Or if he did not care. He barely even acknowledged David's existence. My anxiety skyrocketed. This was not how it was supposed to go. I was supposed to make Mark jealous, make him realize he was losing me. Instead, I felt invisible. Then the late nights at work became even more frequent. He started taking his phone into the bathroom with him. He changed his passwords. He started dressing nicer, buying new clothes. He even started using cologne again, something he had not done since our first few dates. He is definitely cheating, Jessica declared, slamming her fist on the table. We were at a noisy bar, trying to drown my sorrows in overpriced cocktails. There is no other explanation. But with whom? I wailed, tears stinging my eyes. I do not even know where to start. Okay, Operation Find the Slut is a go, Jessica said, her voice steely. We are going to find out what he is up to. That's how I started obsessively checking his phone. I waited until he was asleep, heart pounding in my chest, and scrolled through his messages. Mostly work stuff. A few texts from his friends. Nothing incriminating. Except, there were a few deleted conversations. I know. It was a violation of privacy. But I was desperate. I tried to subtly pump him for information. Working late again tonight, honey? I would ask, trying to sound casual. Yeah, big project, he would reply, not meeting my eye. Got to impress the boss. I started driving past his office late at night. Sometimes his car was there, sometimes it was not. One night, I saw him leaving a bar with Emily, a girl from his team. She was laughing, her hand on his arm. My stomach dropped. Emily was pretty, smart, and always seemed a little too friendly with Mark at company events. I wanted to confront him right then and there, but I chickened out. I was afraid of what he would say, afraid of confirming my worst fears. Then came the dinner reservation. He told me he was having dinner with a client, but something felt off, so I called the restaurant. Hi, I am calling to confirm a reservation for Mark. Mark's last name, I said, my voice trembling. 1 moment, please, the hostess said. After a brief pause, she came back on the line. Yes, mister? Has a reservation for 2 tonight at 8 p.m. Under what name is the reservation? I asked. It is under Emily's last name. The world tilted on its axis. That night, I waited for him to come home. I sat on the couch in the dark, my heart pounding in my chest. When he finally walked through the door, reeking of cologne and cheap lies, I was ready. Who the hell is Emily? I screamed, my voice cracking. He froze, his face draining of color. What are you talking about? Do not play dumb with me, Mark. I know about the dinner reservation. I know about the late nights. I know about everything. He stammered, trying to deny it, but the truth was written all over his face. He finally confessed. He had been seeing Emily for months. He said it was just a work thing, that it did not mean anything. I laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. A work thing? You took her to our favorite restaurant. You lied to my face for months. Then, in a fit of rage and despair, I blurted out about my test with David. His face hardened. So you were trying to make me jealous? You were playing games with me? I was insecure. I felt like you were slipping away. I was trying to get your attention. The argument escalated. Accusations flew, tears streamed, and years of resentment bubbled to the surface. It was ugly, raw, and utterly devastating. Finally, I could not take it anymore. Get out, I said, my voice barely a whisper. What? Get out of my apartment. Get out of my life. He did not argue. He packed a bag and left. Just like that, 3 years of my life were reduced to a suitcase and a slammed door. The next few weeks were a blur of tears, sleepless nights, and an endless supply of ice cream. I moved in with my mom for a while. Jessica was my rock, reminding me that I was strong, worthy, and deserved better. I learned the full extent of Mark's betrayal. It was not just Emily. There was someone else before her, and probably someone else after. He was a serial cheater, and I was just another notch on his bedpost. I confronted Emily. It was a tense, awkward encounter. She claimed she did not know about me, that Mark had told her we were broken up. I did not believe her. I saw Mark a few weeks later at a coffee shop. He looked terrible, haggard, and genuinely remorseful. He told me he had made a mistake, that he regretted everything. I did not forgive him. I started focusing on myself. I threw myself into my work, started exercising, and reconnected with old friends. I even went on a few dates, although nothing serious. David reached out. He was kind, supportive, and understanding. We went for coffee, then dinner. There was definitely a spark, but I was hesitant. I was not ready for another relationship. Not yet. One evening, as I was heading home from work, I noticed David talking to a woman outside of the office. The woman looked incredibly angry. As I walked closer, I heard fragments of their conversation. "You cannot keep doing this, David," the woman yelled. "You ruin everything." David looked stressed and ran his hand through his hair. I quietly turned around and walked away. I did not need to hear any more. Later that week, the woman showed up at my office. She introduced herself as David's ex-girlfriend. "I just wanted to warn you about David," she said. "He is charming, but he is not good for you. He has a pattern of hurting women." My heart sank. Was I doomed to repeat the same mistakes? I thanked her for the warning and promised to be careful. As I sat alone that evening, I realized that I needed to take control of my own life. I could not rely on anyone else to make me happy. I had to be my own advocate, my own protector. I still think about Mark sometimes, about the good times, the laughter, the dreams we shared, but I also remember the lies, the betrayal, and the pain. I do not know what the future holds. Maybe I will find love again. Maybe I will not. But one thing is certain. I will never again tolerate being treated with disrespect. I will never again settle for anything less than I deserve. I got tested, and while it broke me for a while, it also made me stronger. And that is a win, I think.